Brand new reaction continuing right here tonight to the federal deal now signed as the city tries to move forward. The federal oversight of Louisville and LMPD officially begins. Hello, everybody. It's our top story on the WHAS11 night team. I'm Doug Profit. The new consent decree signed with the federal government looks a lot different than other cities. Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg saying Louisville actually got a better deal. The mayor didn't want officers to feel restricted from doing their best at preventing crime. The cost was a concern. He wanted the agreement to be financially responsible. So far, the tab stands at $1.47 million per year. That's at least $3 million for the first 2 years. There will be added costs, though, for implementing some of the reforms. And the mayor didn't want to be stuck in this oversight forever. He wanted a clear way out.
And so our hope is that we meet these requirements for a period of 2 years and that we'll be able to terminate partial portions of the agreement even before that 5-year period. In 5 years, the burden of proof shifts to the Department of Justice to prove that the city is not in compliance with the agreement.
U.S. Department of Justice was back in Louisville today for the announcement. They said Louisville's already implemented some major reforms, which is why the consent decree was structured the way it was. Clarice Shaley and photojournalist Aspen Hesser have been following up on the concerns with the consent decree. They're joining us live from Jefferson Square Park. Clarice?
Yes, Doug, the cries for change came nearly 4 years ago from this very square in downtown Louisville. And now the consent decree is seen as the beginning of a very complicated process that could play out with a police department that stands out in the country.
We should be aggressive about making improvements, and we should be focused on improving public safety.
The promise to move the city forward with federal oversight of the Louisville Metro Police Department. After the announcement Thursday, Bishop Dennis Lyons and other pastors met with the mayor.
What happened today in Louisville, this is how important this is.
Longtime community movers and shakers watched with skepticism.
It was almost like the same old song that we've been hearing.
In a separate meeting, the mayor talked with ministers.
So this gave us a little bit more confidence that it is working in our favor.
Bishop Dennis Lyons holds the bishop's table every Friday morning with the public and law enforcement, something he started as the city was divided during the protests of 2020. Do you think from what you see here they're actually going to carry it out?
I think they will carry it out if we as a community monitor, minister, and maintain and motivate them.
It should show itself that we're doing a good job here. And a lot of what we did and a lot of what's in this agreement is really built around the things that we've already started to put in place.
Police Chief Paul Humphrey speaking on changes made in the department before the consent deal was signed.
I feel like we have a good chief right now, and I want to put trust in him and let him do his job, and hopefully it comes out in the right way.
State Representative Republican Jason Nemes still digesting the 242-page document.
It's a good deal to make sure that our police department is reforming or continuing to reform. They have been making some reforms while at the same time giving them the freedom to do their job, which is to keep our people safe.
Nemes says the past can be traced to one place.
And I've always trusted LMPD. I haven't trusted LMPD leadership. LMPD leadership has not honored their members and the officers on the street because they've been largely incompetent for the recent few years.
Bishop Lyons, meantime, is pushing back.
If we are able to solidify
Now, of course, the consent decree conversation does not stop today. It's going to be a hot topic at the bishop's table meeting tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. at the Gospel Missionary Baptist Church. Plus, on Monday, there will also be a Zoom meeting, community meeting at 7:30 to talk about the consent decree as well. Live in Jefferson Square, Clarice Shaley, WHAS 11 Night Team on your side.
Well, speaking of the chief, the Metro Police Chief Paul Humphrey was part of the small team from Louisville that actually negotiated the deal with the feds. Today, he held his ground with the assistant U.S. attorney standing right next to him.
This is our city. This is our department. The Department of Justice is not making decisions for the city of Louisville or LMPD. We are. Good. She's made several references to all the things that we've done bad. I would not define our department by its worst moments. I like to define people by their best.
And here at WHAS 11, we sent the 242-page document to a man who helped negotiate the consent decree for the city of Baltimore and then later warned other cities about giving up too much. Mayor Craig Greenberg insists that this is a new model for consent decrees in Louisville and is substantially different than the ones for other cities like Baltimore and New Orleans. Louisville's consent decree has 13 different benchmarks LMPD and the city must meet, while Baltimore had 17. However, that's not the main difference for Jason Johnson. Johnson was a deputy police commissioner in Baltimore and helped negotiate their consent decree. He says Louisville being able to shift the burden of proof to the DOJ in the end is the most significant part of this agreement.
I believe it's the first time I've seen this. There's still going to be a lot of work to be done at that point. But the burden will shift at that point, and the Department of Justice will be required to demonstrate and prove to the court that the areas that they believe are not in substantial compliance, they'll have to prove they are not in substantial compliance.
Again, a big difference, as he points out. Even with the burden of proof shifting after 5 years, Johnson doesn't believe the timeline is realistic. Baltimore has been under federal oversight for 8 years and has only hit 5 of the 17 benchmarks they're required to hit. By the way, we want to invite you to watch our WHAS 11 News special report. It's currently posted. We break down the impact the new Donald Trump administration could have on this decree in the future. To the reality check, is it really possible for Louisville to end it in 5 years? Join me along with our reporters on this major story, Isaiah Kim Martinez and Travis Breeze. Our special report is on the WHAS 11 YouTube page right now and on WHAS 11 Plus for free. WHAS 11 Plus is on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. We move to more local news tonight. 2 people are now facing charges in connection to last week's road rage shooting in southern Indiana, including the man who was shot. Indiana State Police say Casey Haven and Ricky Hill sideswiped each other while driving on I-65 northbound last Friday. ISP says neither driver pulled over after the incident, but instead showed each other their weapons. The two continued driving until eventually stopping on the highway off-ramp near Henryville, Indiana. Police say that was when both got out of their cars and Haven fired 4 shots at Hill. Hill was taken to U of L Hospital for a gunshot wound to the arm. Both are now facing several charges, including intimidation with a deadly weapon and aggressive driving. Also today, with a long criminal history, this man, 57-year-old Anthony Nichols, is being held on a bond of $1 million. Nichols was arrested and charged in the death of Erica Brown. Police say Brown's body was found in the Ohio River earlier this week at Cox Park. Police believe 57-year-old Nichols shot Brown and then dumped her body right there at Cox Park in East Louisville. Police say LMPD flock cameras caught Nichols' car in the area of Cox's Park on December 7th. The judge says Brown had an active domestic violence order against Nichols. And happening tonight, the Louisville Fire Department gets its money in a big victory for improving aging fire stations and buying new equipment. The Metro Council approved Mayor Craig Greenberg's request for how to spend the city's budget surplus. The city approved $16.5 million to go towards several projects, including $6 million going to go directly to the Louisville Fire Department. The money will be used to buy 3 fire trucks and repair 4 fire stations across the city, many of those stations in historic buildings. The rest of the money will go towards infrastructure, affordable housing, and park and city improvements. Firefighters and the chief had been following the vote closely, even attending a recent budget committee hearing. A new report shows Louisville is facing a housing affordability crisis, and one organization says outdated laws are standing in the way of progress. The Metro Housing Coalition hosted a town hall today discussing the soaring prices of homes. The organization says outdated zoning laws are preventing true change from happening, and they say efforts to prevent affordable housing from being built are misguided as property values have not decreased with the added housing.
Middle housing is present in the areas they are trying to prevent it. Property values have increased and rent prices have stabilized in other communities that have built more of it. MHC and our housing advocate partners are on the right side of this debate.
The organization is pushing for a move away from exclusionary single-family zoning and towards more relaxed zoning practices. The coalition specifically calling out a recently passed bill in the state that would make it easier for places to form new independent cities, which they say will make it more difficult to build and zone affordable housing. It is West Louisville's first modern hospital. Norton West Louisville Hospital has now been open for 1 month, and they tell us that they are seeing even more patients than they expected, according to Corinza Townsend, who leads the new hospital.
Normally, when you open a healthcare facility, it doesn't pick up as fast as we have. In the 30 days, what we had planned for was a lot of patients. We've seen a lot of patients, if that makes sense.
Now, so far, there have been 1,800 exams, 1,600 ER patients, 550 doctor's office visits at West Louisville Hospital, and 1,600 prescriptions filled in the pharmacy. Norton West Louisville is considered a preventative hospital with full-service cafeteria, also open to the public.